I breeze into her room, announcing, "Fancy seeing you here," in an overly cheery voice. My mother sits propped up in bed, arms resting on a rather obvious mound protruding from the hospital sheet. She smiles at me, eyes leaking grateful tears, relieved that I have gotten the memo that we are pretending everything is normal here. My mom collapsed in her office. In the 48 hours it took me to drag two dogs and a baby 9 hours down I-40 in the snow, she had been diagnosed with terminal cancer, origin unknown. But the football-sized tumor she was now cradling seemed to suggest it wouldn't much matter. This was not my mother's first bout with cancer. 10 years prior, I sat for 8 hours in a waiting room, confusion mounting about how a routine hysterectomy could take so long. When I was finally called back to post-op, I learned her diagnosis from her surgical oncologist. My mother's first words coming out of it, anesthesia, were, "Did they get it all?" She knew someone else would tell me, and that I'd figure out what to do about it. Because that was my role. My mother didn't do hard things. I did. My parents divorced when I was 7. After admitting that my father was not coming home, my mother never said another word about it. She didn't rail about him being a cheating bastard or a neglectful husband or a closet gambler. She didn't say anything at all. For 2 years, she held together an outwardly normal life, only to come home and cry on her bed, while I figured out how to be a quasi-adult. Most nights, dinner was some combination of canned vegetables and kid cuisine. I was fortunate that all of this went down in the late 80s when TV dinners were considered balanced nutrition and microwaves were a staple appliance. Mom would come down from her room, eyes still red, and spoon whatever fruit was in the fridge into little bowls that she placed at the top left corner of our placemats. This contribution seemingly made her feel better, as if fruit with dinner made up for the emotional chaos swirling inside our home. To be clear, my brother and I were my mother's priority. But to her, that meant operating in a magical parallel universe where bills and mortgages and responsibilities were suggestions, not requirements. In order to keep up the facade, she would go to any means necessary, including not paying her own bills, making friends with the credit card collector, stealing money from us, or borrowing money from whomever was willing to lend it to her. Her intent was never malicious, but her actions complicated many of her relationships, including ours. I've heard her apologize many times, but I'm not certain she ever understood that apologies are not the same thing as accountability. She refused to talk about the C word. So when she got sick, we argued about a different C word instead, coloring. During the last 3 months of her life, my mother walked around with a black and white adult coloring book and a bucket of gel pens. The coloring drove me crazy. In my opinion, which she never asked for, she was wasting her final days. I tried everything to pull her away, but she wouldn't budge. These tiffs started out as comical bickering, but escalated to full exasperation as I fought to hold on, and she tried to convince me to let go. One day, she just didn't respond, didn't even look up. The fury that filled me tried valiantly to hide the hurt. My mother never ignored me. Never. But I wasn't listening, so she just stopped talking. The letting go won. When my mother died, I was determined to tell my daughter a truth that she could understand at the tender age of 2. So we told her that Nona went to fly with the birds. Now, when I see a bird, I whisper, "Hi, Mom." She often shows up on my worst days, a reminder that while she never wanted to hold the hard things, she always, always wanted to hold me.